Hello everyone, my name is Crystal. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I said I was going to read this piece out in the Daily Mail, so here we go. It's about the police. Surprise, surprise, the police are failing women. So this piece on page 26, 27 of the Daily Mail. Police did nothing when I reported yobs with crowbars, but two turned up at my door over one tweet. By Julie Bindel. 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 One car window exploded with a crash, and then another. Two yobs were running along our street with a crowbar, howling as they vandalised the vehicles. I was on my way back from the park with the dog after a late evening walk. Afraid of what might happen if the youths caught sight of me, I stood well back, reached for my phone and dialed 999. The call handler's response left me speechless. I was scolded and told off for wasting their time. This was not an emergency, they said. I should have called 101, the number for non-urgent incidents, if I wished to make a report. 6 weeks later, when I answered a knock on the door to see two female police officers, my first thought was that this must be somehow connected. How wrong I was. They were not calling at my home at lunchtime on a Sunday to discuss vandalism. We are here to talk to you about a hate crime, said one. I invited them in and we went into the study, leaving my lunch guests to wonder what on earth was going on. A complaint had been filed about something I'd written on Twitter. This was 2019, before it became X. She had the grace to look slightly embarrassed, as though she, like me, couldn't quite believe the words coming out of her own mouth. Her colleague was looking up, down, sideways, anywhere but straight at me. I asked what the tweet said. They replied that they were not able to divulge that information. Apparently, I was not permitted to know what it was that I'd written that was being investigated as a hate crime. I asked what category of hate crime was involved. I wasn't permitted to know that either. I asked who had complained and they became more forthcoming. A transgender man in Holland. That boggled my mind. I started to ask how on earth a police investigation could be launched because someone in another country felt aggrieved about something they'd read on social media. Under which legal jurisdiction did this alleged offence fall? If it went to court, would the case be heard in Britain or the Netherlands? The police didn't want to discuss that since they didn't have a clue about the answers. Instead, they invited me to appear at the station the next day to make a statement. That flummoxed them. They explained that I had to discuss this matter with a senior officer. In that case, I told them they should have brought a senior officer with them. They left me with haranguing them all the way to the door about the scandalous failure of the British justice system and the shocking waste of police resources, with two constables sent to investigate a tweet when complaints of domestic violence are too often ignored until women are murdered by their partners. Most women in my situation might have felt browbeaten and intimidated into handing themselves in at the station. I'm fortunate that after decades of fighting to end domestic abuse, I have some knowledge of the law and a support network of people ready to back me up, including my very understanding partner. But it makes me livid that on at least 2 occasions I have felt sufficiently alarmed by death threats on social media and threats of violence to my loved ones that I've gone to the police and they've done nothing. Instead, I felt patronised as though I'm seen as an attention seeker who enjoys the melodrama. There is a double standard here. Women like me, have frequently faced physical attack and venomous verbal abuse for our beliefs, namely that the fundamental biological differences between males and females cannot be erased. Our opponents on social media are able to say whatever they like, however threatening, but when one of them feels unhappy at something factual and non-violent that I've said, I get an intimidating visit from the police. And I'm far from alone. The case of journalist Alison Pearson, who is being investigated over a year-old tweet, has sparked an outcry since it made headlines last week. Essex police have since defended their decision to investigate her. The campaigner, Maya Forster, also opened the doorstep. Maya Forstater also opened the door to police on her doorstep in July 2023 following a complaint of alleged transphobia, and the inquiry remained open for 15 months. She has recently been told that it has been closed. That amounts to state harassment. It has ominous echoes of East Germany under the Stasi secret police, and many people might buckle under the pressure. I don't blame the police themselves, certainly not the rank and file who are sent on these fool's errands. I have good friends in the force, and I'm quite sure none of them joined to crack down on social media spats. But I do blame the virtue-signalling liberal establishment that encouraged the selfish, self-deluding trans lobby. Women who should have known better, such as historian Mary Beard and novelist Margaret Atwood, tried to ingratiate themselves with the baying activists who drown out all debate by shouting, "Trans women are women." Peter Tatchell, the gay activist who used to proclaim himself such an enthusiastic feminist, poured fuel on the fire by saying that though he recognised my right to free speech, he abhorred my transphobia. People like these, the lovies who are desperate to be on the right side of history, as they call it, are the ones most responsible for a truly iniquitous situation where failure to hold the approved beliefs can bring the police to your door. So that's part one. Then we're going to read the other one by Lucy Manning, a special correspondent for BBC News, in the next one.